Welcome everybody to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about entity, or we're going to talk about negative energy. One of the two. What's the difference? How can you tell the difference? Negative energy, entity, spirit trapped, demonic energy, and so on. So we're going to look at that in great detail if that's okay with you. So funnily enough, maybe about a week ago, I went into a restaurant, and I was with my partner, and we were sat there, and she said, "Oh, there's some bad spirit. Feels like bad spirit." And I smiled because I'd had 3 or 4 or even 5 similar attacks in this new restaurant in Marbella. Anyway, we continued to eat, and one of the ladies came over who was serving us, and she just all of a sudden started bringing up the conversation about it being negative there, and how stressful it is, and then she mentioned something about something wasn't right in the restaurant, and we both smiled at each other, and we said, yeah, we actually felt the same thing. And she was really shocked, taken back, and then she started asking us how did we know, and I pointed to over in that corner, and she said that's exactly where it is. And we both started to explain, what we do, what we did do, what I did for a living, and so I brought a box of cleansing tools down, and they were very thankful, and they started messaging us, asking us a little bit more about more information, what they can do. So I went back with about 5 bags of sage, and I said to the general manager there, who told me he got in contact with his bosses, the shareholders, and said that this is serious. There's some really not good things happening there, and the shareholders surprisingly have said, look, we understand, we're actually very sympathetic with this, and we know that these things can happen, and do whatever you need to do. I've retired, so I wasn't interested in doing anything, but I was interested in helping this manager, part owner of this place, so I guided him through what to do. One of the wonderful things that he told me afterwards, when I went back a few days later, and he said, oh, I've done it, is that I told him to download a piece of music from my website, which was helping spirit into the light. Within that music, I went in a studio, and there's kind of like a mantra or prayer that I say when I'm cleansing and clearing entity from houses. And it was combined into the music, which is a Gregorian chants. And he said something very surprising happened. And I said, what's that? He said, I wanted to listen to the music before I went to the restaurant and did the cleansing that night. And his beautiful partner got very aggressive and very out of character when the music started to play. And I smiled and I said, did you both come and do the cleansing together? And he said, yeah. I said, well, she'll be fine then. And he wanted to know what I meant. And I said, well, I think more and more people are starting to recognize the fact that sometimes that there are things that happen to us that we wonder why that happened. What was it that made me trigger in that way? Because that's not normally like me. And thus, number one factor of knowing when you've got an attachment is when something out of the ordinary happens to you and you react in such a way that is not like you. So I said it was perfect, because if she did have an attachment and she didn't even know she had an attachment, once she'd done the cleansing in the restaurant and done it properly, not just wafted it around. I mean, really, I explained and asked them to watch the videos how I cleanse. It's basically looks like fog. You can't move in there because you can't see properly. That's how you use sage properly, and it's got to be everywhere, which they did. And there was a different energy about him as well, just out of interest. Like I'm just thinking, you've changed. Your whole energy's changed. You're more joyful. There's more light. It's positivity, and it's like, it's fantastic. Even after so long of been doing this, 20 years of cleansing houses and churches, pubs and nightclubs, and it never ceases to amaze me, the positive energy that happens after cleansing with sage. But yeah, let's look into this and see what the difference is. So for me, negative energy is normally a source of my fear. My fear, which could be of past trauma as a child, that, I'll just give you a great example. My dad used to get really angry with me if I leave any tea in a cup. He would get angry with me if I put the bath water more than a quarter full. So he'd only allow me to have that much in the bath. So now I'm older, you'll always see me leave some tea in the pot. I'll always leave half a cup because I can, and because I was traumatized by my dad making me, getting angry with me because I didn't drink all my tea. And that's a trauma. And if somebody says, why aren't you drinking your tea? I can be triggered by that if I haven't healed myself from it. So that's an inner trauma. So that's different from an entity attachment or a demonic energy. Very different, because it comes from nowhere. The thoughts just come from nowhere and they're not related to any past trauma. So you can normally... That's my little girl. There's obviously a dog walking past. I guess she just wants to communicate. Why wouldn't you? There's certain things that can happen when you have an attachment, and it's normally more visible for people who are around you. And that is, sometimes your face changes. It's like contortionist, just changes. The eyes sometimes start to roll. She's enjoying herself. She sat out there in the sun on the sofa, loving every moment of it. People watching, doggy watching. So yeah, eyes rolling, that's one. Uncontrollable eye movements. Doing things that is not good for you, but you feel almost like you have no choice but to do it. So it's not like there's a resistance coming from you, that you may be somebody who likes chocolate and you can't resist it. And there's a laugh to that. There's a laugh, or, oh, I shouldn't really do it, than somebody who just focuses and needs and has to have it. There's your difference. So if you've got an attachment, it's basically driving you to do something. It's in control of you. So it bypasses your consciousness. Other things that tell healers or myself that there may be an attachment to you is that when you are doing anything which is a cleansing process to the body, so it could be you use Palo Santo to cleanse yourself with the new sprays, or you might have a little Palo Santo stick and cleanse yourself with it, or an incense stick, which is real natural, not the fake stuff, the real stuff, the handmade real things, not the manufactured in China or India, not that crap with fake smells. I'm talking genuine Mother Earth, rosemary and things like that. When you drink, or whether you burn it around you, you normally find, if you have an attachment or an entity, is that you'll instantly get angry. So if there is, like this new couple that I met who've got this restaurant, like I said, as soon as that music came on, there was an anger that came from nowhere. There was this is not your character. Why are you just getting so angry? and defensive because this music's being put on. I'm just putting it on to listen to it before we put it into the restaurant. That's normally a very good sign that you've got an attachment. It's not always the case. You see, when we start looking at and delving into attachment and trapped spirit and so on, trapped spirit is slightly different because depending on where that spirit is in an energetic, measuring stick, whether it's positive or negative, how they got trapped, it depends on what they will do to you. I'll give you a great example. A close member of my family had an attachment for many years as a child, and when he grew up, I cleansed and cleared it when I came into this field of work, and it was gone, and his anger subsided completely, and he was more in control of his self. Prior to that, he used to get really angry, and it just used to like explode. That's another thing. I tell you what's really hard for humans to accept that they're not in control, that they don't believe that something else can be controlling them. And when I say controlling them, I don't mean every thought, every feeling. Entity and attachments are very, very cunning, very sly, very devious. So they'll nudge you at the right time, and if you upset them, if you threaten their existence within this aura, they will show themselves by way of what I've just said. This fire that comes out of you, which it is within the entity itself. So it could be this fire turns into fear within you, or anger, or something that you just, that doesn't make any sense. So like I said, if you've got an attachment or entity, normally what happens is you have thoughts that don't belong to you, and you're thinking these things, and you're having a conversation. You're basically having a conversation. It's normally negative. It's normally spiteful. It's normally to hate somebody or resent somebody. And these monsters know this, that are in you. They know that if somebody's good or kind and caring, they're going to make you hate them. They're going to make you get away from them. So they're going to plant thoughts, because they're very clever, of what that person is and who they are. So if you're, say, in a partnership with somebody and that person is a good, kind soul, you normally find that if you've got an attachment, you'll start thinking that this partner is going to rip you off, or this partner is going to, do something bad to you, or steal ideas, or start his own business. So you're always in conflict with your partner. And that could be for a relationship too. Exactly the same feelings and thoughts you get constantly. That's normally an attachment as well. Where did that come from? Why am I even thinking about this? Of course you'll have thoughts like that if a partner has done something wrong to you. Then that's your thought. That is what's happening in real time, real life. You've got something to think about, but it's just a thought that comes from nowhere, and you've got no proof. You've got no reason to think this. Why am I thinking it? It's normally because you've got an attachment. So when you look at yourself and you think, oh, I think I've got an attachment. And why is that? Why do you think you've got an attachment? Because I keep having negative thoughts. Okay, why? Because I don't know. Well, have a think about it. Well, maybe I'm putting on a bit too much weight. Okay, well, that's basically you. Right? That's you looking at yourself and you're seeing that you're putting on a bit of weight and now you're feeling bad. Or I can't afford that handbag because I'm watching this very famous YouTuber or Instagrammer who was walking around with a handbag worth 20,000 and I want that handbag. Now I'm depressed. That's not attachment. It's just that you're depressed because you believe the handbag's worth everything and you're not worth anything. So that's your thought. That's you. That's your thoughts through what you've seen. I'm talking about when things just happen out of nowhere. It's like, where did that come from? And more and more and more, I am seeing over these past 4 years that there are more people who definitely have attachments, for sure. The thing is, not everybody has them. And there's a lot of healers out there who absolutely believe that every anger thought, every sad thought, every time you do something that is not right, is that you've got an attachment. I don't believe that. I wholeheartedly don't believe it. Through the work I've done, I've had clients who have done things and I've given them a healing session and there's been no attachment. So that was just their own issues, their own trauma, their own fears, and their own experience, what they've experienced through that day, that week, that month, because of their fears, or somebody else putting their anger, their fear, their weaknesses on them. So I don't say that you've all got it, but at least now I've explained this to you, you might sit down or watch it again and think, okay, because I've kind of gone from one to another, so it's a little bit, all over the place, but that's me. If you listen back to it carefully, and you can think, okay, now this kind of makes sense. And I think it should make sense to you. If you have an attachment, you'll know. Why? Because you just know. There's just something that your consciousness will tell you if you ask. Most of us don't ask. Most of us just close. I'm not watching, not listening. I'm not playing this game, right? But if you really truly ask, you will be told. Your consciousness will tell you, but you need to talk to your consciousness. And the only way you can do that is through meditation, through silence, through honesty, through being truthful and having the power to look at yourself in the mirror. Now, there's a challenge for you. So, any more questions you've got, please put below and I'll make another video if you want me to go more into extensive detail into this. I don't mind continuing this conversation, but hopefully there's a few key things in here that might be able to help you and help your family. But saying that, there's nothing more beautiful to end on a positive note. There's nothing more beautiful than saging yourself. There's nothing more beautiful than using a beautiful spray that cleanses and clears entities. Right there. Right there. It says, clears attachments, my new spray. And of course, it's sage. Or going and getting yourself a nice big bag of sage, burning it, blow it, get the smoke all around you, and then clear your room, clear your space, and you'll normally find you'll be fine. And a good healer, a beautiful pure energy healer on the pureenergyhealingacademy.com, find a healer. They will certainly know how to cleanse and clear attachments. They've trained under me and they're all absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure there's one near you. They're all over the world. So I'll put some links below. Some of the links that I put there is for certain crystals that I use to cleanse and clear, absolutely blast away entity, which is Morsitsit. So I'll put a link to that. I'll put a link to these new amazing sprays. I'll actually link this one, which is cleansing attachment spray. That is working absolutely magic now. And I'll probably link the cleansing negative energy, because even if it isn't attachment, it's good to cleanse your energy, your aura. Remember, when your clothes are mucky, what do? Wash them. So the same thing is for your energy. Take care. Have a lovely day.